Hi everybody. Um, Given that you have a quiz 2 and that quiz 2 is related to topic related to standard costing, then I think I will give you I'll give you several examples, additional examples related to how to calculate the um, variance for material, labor and overhead. So I hope after you see these examples, you can calculate the variances, and then I hope you will get good marks in the quiz too. Okay, see here. This is an example of material variances. So let's see. Hanson is a business. Hanson Incorporated has the following direct material standard to manufacture one product. The product is called ZP. So, for every ZP, the standard quantity of material is 1.5 pounds and the standard price for the material is $4 per pound. Okay, let's see. Last week, 1,700 pounds of material were purchased and used to make 1,000 unit ZPs. The material costs a total of 6,630. So, the first two lines or first two paragraph in this slide is related to standard data, and the last paragraph in this slide is related to actual data. So let's see. Then the question is, what is the actual price per pound paid for the material? So when the question asks you about the actual price per pound, then you know you can calculate the answer by looking at the last paragraph in the previous slide. So the calculation for the actual price is $6,630 divided by 1,700 pounds. So the actual price is $3 per pound. $3.90 per pound. Okay, so let's see. Next. So the question asks you to calculate the material price variance for the week. So how to calculate the material price variance? So you use the formula to calculate the material price variance. The material price variance is equal to actual quantity times actual price minus standard price. So the actual quantity, you can see in the previous slide, the actual quantity is 1,700 pounds. And then times the actual price, you have calculated that in the previous slide, $3.90, and the standard price is $4. That one is can be seen in the question, in the sample question. So the material price variance is $170. Favorable. Why favorable? To know whether it is favorable or not, you see the difference between the actual price and the standard price of the material. When the actual price of the material is less than the standard price, then it is a favorable variance. The thing is like this, the company actual purchase price is less compared to the standard price. So it is a favorable situation. Okay, so the answer is B, $170 favorable. Now, the question asks you to calculate the standard quantity of material that should have been used to produce 1000 ZPs. Okay, you have to use the this calculation. Standard quantity of material is equal to the unit is 1000 unit, and then you check the standard quantity for 1 unit of ZP. So the standard quantity is 1.5 pound. So the standard quantity is 1500 pounds. And then the question asks Hansen material quantity variance for the week was, okay, now you use the formula to calculate the variance. See this one. Okay. Supposed to, there is one missing slide. To calculate the material quantity variance, there is a formula, and then if you use the formula, you will get this answer. Material quantity variance is $800 unfavorable. Okay, you can check the formula to calculate the material quantity variance. So you will get the answer $800 unfavorable. So if there is a question asks you, what is the total material variance? So the answer is 170 favorable plus 800 unfavorable. So the total material variance is $630 favorable. Sorry, unfavorable. $630 unfavorable. Okay, now this additional thing. Hansen purchased and used 1,700 pounds. How are the variances computed if the amount purchased differs from the amount used? Okay, this is one issue. If you have a business, most of the time you purchase raw material, but when you do the production, you use less than the quantity that you purchase. Let's say for this business, for this company, the company purchased 1,700 pounds of material. When the company run the production, most of the time the company will use less, because when a company purchase raw material, they always purchase more than the quantity that they want to use. So in that situation, how to calculate the material variances? This is very important. Remember this. When you calculate the material price variance, you use the purchase data or purchase quantity. But when you calculate the material quantity variance, you use the quantity used in the production. Okay, there is an example. Okay, be very careful about this. So Hansen Incorporated has the following material standard to manufacture 1 ZP. The same data, 1.5 pound material per ZP at $4 per pound. This these are the standard data. Last week, see, last week £2,800 of material were purchased at the total cost of 10,920, and £1,700 were used to make 1,000 GPs. So the purchase quantity is higher compared to the use quantity. So how, for this situation, let's see how to calculate the material price variance and material quantity variance. Okay, like I said earlier, when you want to calculate the material price variance, when you use you want to calculate the material price variance, you use the purchase quantity data. In this example, the purchase quantity is £2,800 times the actual price and the standard price. So the answer for this is price variance equal to $280 favorable. But when you calculate the material quantity variance, you use the quantity used. See here, the actual quantity used is 1,700 pound, and then standard quantity is 1,500 pound. So the answer is material quantity variance is $800 unfavorable. Okay, remember, when you calculate the material price variance, you use purchase quantity. When you calculate the material quantity variance, you use the quantity used in the production. Okay, this is like an additional explanation. I need the price variance sooner so that I can better identify purchasing problem. You accountant just don't understand the problem that purchasing manager have. I will start computing the price variance when material is purchased rather than when it is used. So this is the normal conflict between accountant and the purchasing officer. The person that is responsible to purchase the raw material for a business is the purchase officer. Most of the times, he wants to purchase the material that is high quality at the lowest price, and to do this they need info from the accountant, but accountant has to wait for the purchase first, then they can do the analysis. So there is always a conflict between these two people. Okay, responsibility. So see, remember here, if you have time, you read this one. But the main point is the person that is responsible for the purchase of raw material is the purchasing officer. I'm focusing on the calculation. So now we look at the calculation for direct labor variances. Okay, so direct labor variances. These are the formula that you have to use for the labor rate variance. The formula is actual labor hour times actual rate minus standard rate. Labor rate means labor salary. In management accounting, you pay the labor based on the labor hour. How much salary for 1 hour. That is the normal thing that we do, typical thing that we do. And labor efficiency variance related to the labor hour. So labor rate variance is related to the salary, and then labor efficiency variance is related to labor hour. Efficiency mean how efficient the workers or labor in doing their work. So the labor efficiency variance, the formula is standard rate times actual hour minus standard hour. There is no other way. You have to memorize the formula. Okay, let's see. There is an example here. Hanson Incorporated has the following labor standard to manufacture one ZP. 1.5 standard hours per ZP at $12 per direct labor hour. So this is data from US. It is no, I think, I hear that there is normal. In US, they pay several US dollar to factory workers per hour. So imagine if the rate is $12 per hour. One day the workers are working 8 hours. So 12 times 8. So you can calculate how much the factory worker in US is making every week. So let's say 11 times 8, $96 per day. So $96 per day is like how many ringgit? 300 ringgit plus, close to 400 ringgit per day. That is the amount they make. There's a lot of money. That's why goods from US is expensive, because the labor rate is very high. So let's see. That is the standard data. 1.5 standard hour per ZP at $12 per direct labor. Last week, 1,550 direct labor hours were worked at the total labor cost of $18,910 to make $1,000 ZPs. Okay, let's see how to calculate the labor rate variance. First, the question, this slide shows how to calculate the actual rate. Actual rate is easy. You take the actual labor cost minus the actual labor hour. You will get the actual rate of $12.20. And then the question asks you to calculate labor rate variance. So now you use the formula. Labor rate variance equal to actual hour times actual rate minus standard rate. So actual hour is 1550 hours. Actual rate is $12.20. You have calculated that number in the previous slide minus the standard rate. You can see that in the question, $12. So the labor rate variance is $310 unfavorable. Why unfavorable? Because the actual rate is higher than the standard rate. Okay, now this is the way to calculate the standard hours. So the standard hours of labor that should have been worked to produce 1,000 ZPs. So to calculate this, you have to look at the unit of production. So the unit of production is 1,000 unit of ZPs. And what is the standard hour for one unit? Standard hour for one unit is 1.5. So the standard hour is equal to 1,500 hours. Then you use the formula to calculate the labor efficiency variance. Okay, now labor efficiency variance, the formula is standard rate times actual hour minus standard hour. So the standard rate, you can see that data in the question, $12 per hour, and then actual hour is 1550 hours, and then the standard hour is 1500 hours. So labor efficiency variance is unfavorable. Why unfavorable? Because the actual hour is higher compared to the standard hour. Okay, the thing is like this. Let's say this is your business. According to your standard, to produce 1,000 unit ZPs, you have to use 1,500 hours only. That is the standard. But when the production is actually done, your business has used 1,550 hours. The actual production process uses more than the standard, uses more hours compared to the standard. So that's why the situation is called unfavorable. So this is the summary. And then if there is a question asks you, what is the total labor variance? Total labor variance is $310 unfavorable plus $600 unfavorable. So total labor variance is $910 unfavorable. Okay, this is additional explanation about labor rate variance. So why do you think another thing that you have to know is you have to know reason for the variance. Let's say the variance is okay, the labor rate variance is unfavorable. Why do you think that situation can happen? One of the reason is the company hire overqualified workers. Okay, when the company hires overqualified workers, the company has to pay more than than necessary, because high qualification workers has to be paid more. Let's say you have a factory, the work has to be done by workers who have SPM only, or even SPM only. So if you hire the factory worker that has a diploma or degree, then you have to pay more. Overqualified workers, you have to pay more. That's if you pay more, then the labor rate variance becomes unfavorable. So if you have a business in the future, always you have to aware that when you hire people, do not hire overqualified people. For the factory workers, maybe SPM is sufficient, so you hire them, you pay the salary according to their qualification. If you hire overqualified people, then you have to pay more, then your labor rate variance will become unfavorable. But there is also a weakness. If you hire highly qualified workers, you pay more to them, but maybe they are more efficient and effective in doing their work. So if you hire a high qualification workers, your labor rate variance most probably will become unfavorable, but they are good at their work, so you will get favorable labor efficiency variance, because they are very good, they have high qualification, maybe they can do their work very efficiently and effectively. So that is the takeoff. You have to choose to get most of the time a company has to choose to get favorable rate variance or labor rate variance, or to get favorable labor efficiency variance. So who are the person that is responsible for the labor rate variance? So most of the time the production manager, because the production manager assign workers. The production manager assign these workers have to do this, these workers have to do that. Sometimes maybe the another thing that is related is the human resource department. This department is responsible to hire workers, so maybe this department also has something related to the labor variance. Okay, these are several reasons why a business or a company can get unfavorable efficiency variance. Okay, one of the reason is poorly trained workers. If you hire poorly trained workers, so your business will get unfavorable labor efficiency variance, because poorly trained workers, they do works and the output is not good, so they have to do it again. So the labor efficiency variance will become unfavorable or negative, or not good. And the second reason is insufficient demand. How insufficient demand can cause unfavorable labor efficiency variance. The thing is like this: if there is insufficient demand, workers become lazy. They know there are not many things to do, so they just do their work slowly. So when they do their work slowly, the labor efficiency variance will become unfavorable. Poor quality material also can cause labor efficiency variance unfavorable. How? Because when you use poor quality material in the production process, the output is not good. So the workers has to do the same thing, or to produce the same product many times. So when you see this point, you will understand that the material also can influence the labor. The quality of the material can influence the labor variance. And then poorly maintained equipment also can cause unfavorable efficiency variance, and poor supervision of workers. The workers are good, but the supervisors are not good. So it can cause unfavorable labor efficiency variance. So these additional things. I see here. The human resource department also has the practice that they do, the practice or things that are done by the human resource department also can influence the labor variance. Okay, now we see the variance for the variable manufacturing overhead. Okay, so when you see the overhead cost, always remember, when you calculate overhead cost in management accounting, when you calculate the overhead cost for a product, you have to use predetermined overhead rate. And most of the time, when you calculate the predetermined overhead rate, you use the labor hour as the allocation base. When you use the labor hour as the allocation base, then the results of the calculation for the overhead variances is related to the labor variances, because the labor hour is used as the allocation base. So let's see, let's see the calculation here. Variable overhead spending variance, the formula is actual labor hour times the actual overhead rate minus the standard overhead rate. So when you see the actual labor hour here, that number is also used in the calculation of labor rate variance. So that's why there is a relationship between these two variants if you use the labor hour as the allocation base. But if the business uses machine hours as the allocation base, then maybe then these two variances are not related. That is the calculation for variable overhead spending variance. And then the variable overhead efficiency variance. The formula is standard overhead rate. Okay, standard overhead rate times the actual hour minus the standard hour. So let's see the calculation here. Hansen spending variance. Oh, I missed. I think that there is a missing slide. Let's see what we can see from this slide. Hansen spending variance or variable overhead spending variance for variable manufacturing overhead for the week was. So to calculate this, you have to use the calculation. So the actual hour, according to the question, is 1550 hours, and then the actual rate, the actual overhead rate, supposed to be, there is a calculation here, but we can see here the calculation, the actual overhead rate is $3.30, and the standard overhead rate is $3. So you can see there the actual rate is higher than the standard rate, so the variance is unfavorable. So the answer is for $65 unfavorable. So you can see that the most important thing is to memorize the formula. And then the Hansen efficiency variance for variable manufacturing overhead for the week was, so this is the variable efficiency variance. Also you have to use the formula. Remember the formula. Standard rate is $3, standard overhead rate is $3. Actual hour is the 1550 hours, and the standard hours 1500 hours. So the answer is $150 unfavorable. So there is the same thing. There is like a relationship between the variances of variable overhead and the labor variances, because the allocation base is same, which is the labor hours. So this thing, both are unfavorable. I think for the labor variances also you can see both are unfavorable, because these two variances uses the same basis, which is the labor hours. Okay, I think this is it. This one. If variable overhead is applied on the basis of direct labor hours, the labor efficiency and variable overhead efficiency variances will move in tandem. Okay, labor variances and overhead variances will move in tandem. They go the same way. If labor variance are unfavorable, the variable overhead variance also will also unfavorable. Okay, but the thing about this example is that is no example for variances for fixed overhead. So you have to look at the lecture notes that or the lecture video that I have done for you before, for the way to calculate the fixed overhead variance. Thank you very much. Do not forget to write your name and matric number in the comment section so that I will I will take it as the today's lecture attendance.